Hello and welcome to another episode of Alternate Future of Adizzpro's WICSO. In the last episode, we saw a lot of stuff happen, such as the division of Tibet, but yeah, we can get right into it. The first thing we look at is the Brazilian Union, whereby I turn off that layer for a second. As this country, their government is overthrown, and the government will be replaced by a simple dictatorship, but still this signals emergency across South America. And so the Circle Alliance declares war on this country as they want to make sure that there is no way this thing can get any power, as that is the whole purpose of this union. And very quickly, Circle team forces will enter in from the surrounding countries, and I don't know why I'm forgetting the buttons, but forces will move up, almost capturing the capital, and they will almost capture it from actually three angles with the three main invading forces, and they will cut the capital off from the very little remainder of the country, and the capital will soon be marched into and will also soon fall as this dictatorship is overthrown, replaced once again with a democracy, and they will, of course, I don't know if they would even have time to leave the Circle Alliance and the, actually I guess that's it, and leave the Brazilian Union, but they don't have time, so the old government is reestablished, and all these countries are, a little calmed more now. We now take a look at some stuff over here in Asia, which is the Green Empire, Caspia, will march their forces into this red country, quickly taking out the capital, as well as making several naval landings, which they really didn't need to, but they're just showing off their strength. And this red country will be wiped out in an extremely short amount of time, causing it to be fully annexed into the Green Empire. China will now be more surrounded, as another country will join their rival alliance, and that will be, of course, Korea. And with this, tensions heat up very fast as China immediately enters the pink Manchurian country into the alliance, and Korea will enter this gold country. And once again, across all these borders, tensions heat up dramatically as weaponry is pointed at each other. But whatever kind of guns, or if they have tanks, even now, they probably have stuff better, but all of their equipment will be pointed at each other, and a war seems like it might be about to break out, and to heighten tensions even more down here in Africa. You remember that false flag operation that Tanzania did over here in this little, these exclaves or enclaves, and it was against the Unitarians. Well, they're doing the part 2 of that, as, they go over down into the pink country. They will send their forces down there secretly, and they'll ambush the old government and surprisingly actually turn it into democracy, which is very confusing. And then that false flag operation happens with pink forces supposedly going into large parts of Tanzania and killing a bunch of civilians, and this will lead to Tanzania to declare war against this pink country, and this pink country is extremely confused because, you know, this was not them, and they also don't know how their government just got flipped over, and that is Tanzania's justification for war, though, and they will quickly push back these forces, if you want to call them that, and they will quickly push into the pink country itself, as they quickly will make a naval landing around this lake, and they will surround it, capturing this major city, bolting down to where the capital is, and pretty quickly wiping out this area of modern-day Mozambique, I believe. And soon the capital will be captured, and the government will be, can't remember the word, disposed of, and, you know, in a brutal way. But after this, Tanzanian forces will rapidly accelerate through Mozambique, and it will fall very quickly, as once it is separated into two parts, and there is temporary leaders but no government can be found, this country will ultimately fall over to Tanzania and make the choice to surrender. And in this peace treaty, we see Tanzania take almost half of the country, and most of their population too, and the capital will be moved down here. But that's not it. This country is forced to pay a ridiculous amount of debt. One of the heaviest amounts of debt ever seen in this world. And the world is kind of shocked that Tanzania just did that. Like, that is too much money, and these guys, they're broke. It's kind of like after World War I with Germany in our real timeline. And this country simply will fall into anarchy. The country will officially collapse, and with it, we see two things happening similar to what happened with other anarchist states before World War VI, and new countries are going to be formed, but other countries are also going to take land. And these countries will only take 2 provinces here and 2 provinces here, so not a whole lot, but actually official countries aren't going to be set up here. It's going to go into civil war. The first group to arise is a just one that wants to retake power, and they do not have a set ideology yet, and once they take power, they will split into a neo-authoritarian one, a dictatorship. Actually, hold on, let me do this. And a democratic one, which will take over the rest of this group. And, well, actually, I guess not the rest. Let's just say it still does exist up here, because, well, yeah. Let's say that they are monarchists now, that this is where they fled, and they are a monarchist group now, and these countries will expand, and they don't seem to really care about or for each other. They seem to barely notice that they're there, but after a little bit of expansion by each group, and a lot by the monarchists, we have basically full-on war being declared between these countries, as they will just begin to fight each other, and there is no popular one here. They are all just kind of there. People are probably moving out or being forced to join these armies, and yeah, there's not much to say, but a new, if I can find a good color, a new faction will be established, and this one is a Unitarian one, and immediately the people that live here will start to heavily enlist in the army, and within a very short amount of time, the dictatorship faction will be wiped out, and the Unitarian Democratic faction will decide to take on the new authoritarian one together, and this is happening so quick that Tanzania and these other countries cannot react. The Unitarian faction will take over the monarchist one, and the Democratic faction will surrender to the Unitarian one, and Tanzania and all these other countries are getting their weapons ready. They're getting their armies mobilized. But this country already has their army mobilized. They're just fighting. And so they start to march into Tanzania as they liberate all of the people possible. And it's not just Tanzania. Their armies are given the order to march out and free just everyone from neo-authoritarianism. And that is exactly what they start to do, as all these surrounding countries are flooded in these troops, as they don't have their militaries ready yet. But soon, Tanzania gets their military ready, and they will push back, and after that, the Unitarians will lose all of their gains, and Tanzania will make it very clear to them that they are not allowed to exist by the Treaty of World War VII, and Tanzanian troops will flood the entire country, as other countries will give some troops as well, just to assist Tanzania and stand by their side. And this country will once again be divided up. And this country will be fully annexed by this, I don't even know what color country this is, but they will be annexed. And Africa is already looking a lot more different. I do want to remind you that at this point, it has been quite a while since World War VII. All these events are pretty spaced out, other than, tensions heating up between Persia, India, and China. That's been more quickly. But yeah, it's been a while, and the world is kind of calmed down. Of course, there's still, the neo-authoritarians taking over land, and what we see here in Eurasia, well, just Asia, actually, is a new country joining India's alliance. and it's not who you would think. It's Russia. This heightens tensions to the max. And China is absolutely furious. And so they will declare war on this gold country as they send troops in and try to hopefully wipe out the country as quickly as possible before the alliance has a chance to join. But it is too late, as a full-on Eurasian war is declared between these two alliances, and quickly disaster will erupt as forces begin fighting everywhere, as Caspian forces are fighting a big lot of front war, and they will advance also into the gold country, but it is not quick enough, and Tibet is also gonna fight each other as this I don't hold on a second. But the two Tibets will start to fight each other as troops will enter out from both, and they will try. Why is that there? They will both try to gain the upper hand, but they will be pretty evened out as Persindia deploys forces everywhere, and fighting begins in Mesopotamia between these forces, and this causes just a bunch of hate, more hate towards the neo-authoritarians in Mesopotamia, and the Persindians will start their advance into Caspia as they send tons and tons of forces up to reach the Caspian Sea, which they will, and they will capture even more land, and Russia will also begin to capture more land as they will capture the rest of this Azerbaijan area and move into Caspia, and alarms are just sounding everywhere, and everyone's terrified, China will send tons of forces into Vietnam, and they will wipe out areas pretty quickly, but will be slowed down by forces, and up here China isn't paying attention like they should, and Korean and Manchurian forces are just gliding through this pink country, and in fact the country is almost completely gone. No, I don't want to add text. But Korean forces will even start little advances into China. It's not a lot in most areas, but they do advance into China, and everyone's just shocked by this war. The brown countries shocked that Russia joined the war, and actually speaking of that, and after all this, you would think that the brown team would show or would show that they care to their ally, and that is exactly what they don't do, as they will join China's side of the war and declare war against Russia. And this is a massive shock, as Dutch forces began to rapidly advance into Russia, and it is just horrible for Russia. They're fighting a lot of front war, And the last time that the Dutch and the Russians were fighting each other was, was it World War V or World War IV? I feel like it was World War V, but in World War V, they didn't border because there was Germany and Poland. But now they do, and it is quickly going very downhill for the Russians as the Dutch have their assignment as to reach the capital of Russia before the winter. And kind of sounds familiar, but they will land forces on this island, which I think Adizzpro talked about before, how this is it was a really fortified base, and the Russians will lose it, so that's not good for them. And as the Dutch are about to get to the Russian capital, not only will forces finally reach the front lines, but winter sets in. And kind of the same story as, Napoleon and Germany in World War II. They didn't give their soldiers proper winter clothes, and now they do, and they will calm down for the winter. And this is still serving as a massive shock to Russia, though, and it will give the Green Country time to push back against Russia a little bit, and Russia is quickly wondering if they should have joined this war, as Manchuria is actually falling extremely fast, and now it's gone. And Korean forces are working with Manchurian forces to help out China, and we also see direct fighting on the Chinese-Persian border, and it's at this point that another thing will happen, and that is the Chinese adding a new ally into the war, which is the Gold Country. And at this point, Tanzania is absolutely furious. They're honestly looking like how the Gold Country was before World War IV, and they will march their forces into the Gold Country almost immediately, as they will reach the capital and start committing horrible atrocities, just like the ones that the Gold Ethiopians committed in Tanzania. And this is just horrible. The Gold Country is wiped out, and it's looking like kind of Tanzania just pulled an Uno reverse card, which they kind of did. But anyway, this is just a very big war, and it's going to be known as the Great Eurasian War. And that makes sense, as one area where, the Chinese do succeed is in Tibet, as Tibet was pretty close with China for a while, and then they got pretty isolated, but this country still remembers World War III when they were working with the China. Actually, were they? I'm pretty sure they were. Yeah, they were. But yeah, they will wipe out a lot of Tibet, and Persian forces will make sure not to let all of Tibet fall, as they will actually advance into the other Tibet. There's two Tibets, that's very confusing. But the Chinese will now try something very important, as they will send their forces into Bangladesh, and they go full force right at Bangladesh, attempting to cut off Persian forces. They don't, though. Not yet. They're still a little bit away, but they attempt to cut Persian forces off, and thus Persia and Vietnam off from each other. But instead what happens is very horrible for the Chinese, as Persian forces will bolt into China and encircle all of these forces, including defense ones, and this large encirclement will last over here. And yeah, so far this war is looking pretty crazy. But that is going to do it for today's video, so thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. And if you're only watching this series, I'll see you next week for probably, I don't know if the Eurasian War is going to be finished up in the next episode. It might take another one, or it might be finished up in the next episode, and the peace treaty will be after that in the next video. I'm not sure, but thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.